Hello friends, welcome to Gardening with Creekside. I am Jenny and today we're going to take a little tour of the front of our house. We have all sorts of fun both containers and hanging baskets and a flower bed in the landscape, obviously, that I want to show you. So here we are at the front of our house. We have a very kind of traditional southern house. So first what we're going to do is start over here in the flower bed that is off to the left of our front porch. So let's go over here. Now we were over here last time and it was October. I was just looking at this video the other day when we planted this dwarf blue atlas cedar. This is a Hortsman, so it's not going to get massive. I know there are the large full-size blue atlas cedars. This is a dwarf, so just keep that in mind. It's doing great. It clearly loves this spot because it has got tons of new growth in here, and you know me, I just have to get up in here with this plant. So it is doing wonderful. It's got nice thick foliage on it and all this lighter green on the edges. That is all new growth. So it is loving this spot. Now keep in mind this bed is not on irrigation. Really at this point there's no need because everybody is doing great. There's just not a need for it. Now obviously we do water when it doesn't rain, when it gets really warm, especially my annuals. But the great thing about both the tea olives in the back and this blue atlas cedar is if you plant them at the correct time of year, then you don't have to worry about it. So again, we planted these in October of last year. This one, the tea olives, we planted the year before. So let's talk about tea olives. So tea olives are back here in the back. There are 4 of them right here. Tea olives are not truly like, I had somebody ask me, you know, oh, well, they produce fruit. They're not that kind of olive tree. It's actually a sweet Osmanthus. So this is a classic southern plant, and we are actually kind of on the borderline of being a little too cool for tea olives. But I know that this spot, because it faces west, gets really hot, intense afternoon sun, even in the winter, because we have this brick foundation and the heat kind of radiates off the brick. So these 4 tea olives are fantastic evergreen tree shrubs. They're not technically a tree, they're more of a shrub that produce, and in fact, if Jerry can get in here right quick, this is not the normal time, but they produce these little tiny creamy white, a little bit of a hint of an orange blossom on them, starting in the late summer, early fall, and will go through the fall, winter, into early spring. They produce the most glorious smell you have ever, your nose has ever smelled. I tell people it's like an orange, jasmine, honeysuckle smell. You definitely smell tea olives before you see them. So this is the idea with these tea olives, is that they will create a hedge, give us some nice structure back here, which they are already doing. And this window, because I know some people are like freaking out because in the back there's a window. Yes, there is a window. That is our bathroom window. But to let you know also, the elevation inside is very low. So these would have to get just massive before they would ever block our view. And with tea olives, you actually prune them once a year. You should prune them in early spring, late spring, early summer. We were a little late this year pruning them, but you can see all of this right here on the top is new growth. So they are doing great. Love these tea olives, sweet Osmanthus. So with my Hortsman, my tea olives, this gives us great structure year round. Now, in this bed, this is where I have fun, and these are my annuals, obviously. And as the tea olives get bigger, and as the Hortsman gets bigger, my space for my annuals gets smaller. But that's okay. So this year we went with the Salvia. This is Rockin' Playin' the Blues Salvia. It's our first year growing it. We've always done some of the other Rockin' series plants in there. I love this plant. I love it. It is absolutely gorgeous. It has a different bloom on it than, say, like the Rockin' Deep Purple or the, what is that, Blue Suede Shoes. So Playin' the Blues has a silvery color to the leaves A little hard to tell right now because we are in the shade and they are a little damp from the dew of the morning. Pollinators go nuts over them. There's a bumblebee over here who's trying to outfly Jerry, but he's there. The honeybees love them. These will get nice and thick and full. I will tell you again, we were so late this year on planting. These have only been in the ground for about, gosh, a month really. And so we were 4 to 6 weeks behind on when we normally plant this. So these are not anywhere near their full size, but these will go all the way through the fall until we get a hard freeze. And then of course we have bubblegums here. So the bubblegums are taking off, doing great. By the end of the season, they will have this whole space covered. So they are doing magnificent. This year was kind of my year of the bubblegum as far as the landscape here at the house and in the front. It just is the classic, it's the standard. You just cannot beat bubblegum in my opinion. Remember this Vista series from Proven Winners is fantastic for the landscape, large containers. So this is the bed. Again, I'm loving it and it is doing fantastic. Now, we've been here before. Remember last year, Jackson and I were here trimming this one and the black snake was in there. So these are boxwoods. This is the time of year that we need to prune them. But we've talked about this before. We've got a couple of yellow jacket nests in the ground over here. And when Jerry and I were doing, we were out here one day, there's a yellow jacket nest because they put their nest in the ground. There's one under this boxwood and there's also one in the next boxwood. So Jenny's not going to be trimming these boxwoods until the yellow jackets are gone. They're normally pretty fine unless you disturb them. And definitely if I were to take the hedge trimmers out here and start trimming on these boxwoods, they would not be happy and Jenny would get torn up. So we have the boxwoods. It took us a couple of years to get this right. I know some people have strong feelings about boxwoods. It's kind of like you either love them or you hate them. These have worked great for our house. These have been in the ground, gosh, 12 years. They've done fantastic. We prune them once a year. Again, this is the time of year for us to prune them here in North Carolina. They just do great. They're not on irrigation. We don't fertilize them. Just, you're talking about low maintenance. We literally prune them once a year and that's it. And they give us great structure year round and really kind of anchor our house. Now, the hanging baskets. The hanging baskets are, they're simple. They're not real complicated, but they're beautiful. In that is Diamond Snow Euphorbia from Proven Winners. Last year I had in these two planters, I had Diamond Snow and they just create this beautiful white mass of blooms that are very drought tolerant. They can do sun or shade because these hanging baskets do not get any sun until probably 2 or 3 in the afternoon, and then they get the hot afternoon sun and they still do amazingly well. Again, pretty drought tolerant. They are on irrigation, but I just turned it on about 2 weeks ago. And life happens and I would go like 2 weeks between watering and they still did okay. But there's also these baskets are from Kinsman. So the Kinsman Garden Company, you know how much I love them. These are 16 or 20-inch baskets. So they're nice and big. They hold lots of potting soil. There are 3 Diamond Snows in each of these hanging baskets. Again, I wanted them full and these will take us all the way through, again, another hard freeze. So for us, that will be November. So that is what we have here. Coming up the steps, again, I'm keeping things simple this year. Keeping things simple. Life has been crazy and complicated, so we're just keeping it simple. These are little plastic, little faux pots. I think I got them at a discount store. So nothing pricey here. This is the Double Up Begonia in pink. Brand new this year from Proven Winners. We had trialed them last year and I fell madly in love with them. These Double Up series are just the easiest plants ever. You can see how they have that beautiful foliage on them. Folks that have Japanese beetles do not like these plants. So praise the Lord. This is something that we do not have to worry about with the Japanese beetles. Just that beautiful green foliage on it. You've got those sweet baby doll pink blooms. This is sun or shade. So this plant, again, because this does not get sun till that 2, 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and then it gets the hot, intense afternoon sun, they do fantastic. There are 2 plants in this container. This is probably about a 14-inch container. This is not on irrigation. So, and it is kind of under the eave of the house. It may get a little rain if the rain is blowing and gets on it. Otherwise, I have to hand water it. But again, I'm not watering it like every once a week, maybe. If I remember. So they're doing great. Again, fresh soil, mulch, holds the moisture in, and they're doing great. So let's come on up here to the porch, because I want to give you an update on this container. This is the Michael Carr strawberry planter that I planted in the spring. Can't see the container at all. So not that I didn't believe Michael when he told me when he planted petunias in it last year. He said, you just can't even see the pot. And this is true. So I have trimmed them before. Really whacked them back. So they have been cut back. Clearly is doing great. I have thought about pulling them out and doing a different planting, something more tight that you could actually see the pot. Probably just going to leave that and do that next year. This is the fiber optic grass. So remember when we did the urns on the back porch, the patio area, I talked about that the fiber optic seemed to struggle if it ever dried out and it can't really bounce back. This pot has definitely dried out a couple of times, and I think that's just the nature of the fiber optic grass, which is, it's not a bad thing. It's just that you have to know that it can't get dried out because it just has a hard time bouncing back. There are several other plants that we have done that I have realized that, and if you have a nice moist area or something that's on irrigation, obviously fiber optic is going to be a great choice for you. But in here, obviously it looks a little sad. So coming back over here, we have one more thing to show you. I know that some of you might be asking, this is a cotton cedar, what you would plant cotton seed in a field. So this was my granddaddy's. My mama and her whole family are from like the low country, South Carolina. And this was my granddaddy's. It is missing one of the arms, and but he would walk behind it. You put the cotton seeds in here. The mule would hook up right here and pull it. You can still see there the paint of the company that made it. The other side, actually, the paint's a little bit stronger because it has faded. Excuse me, but that is what this is. And then too, if you notice, our ceilings are blue, because I'm learning what you're going to be asking me, so I'm just going to go ahead and try to tell you what's going on here. So our ceilings are painted a light blue, and honor, a little wink and a nudge, because if you are ever been to Charleston, South Carolina, or Savannah, Georgia, you've probably noticed that the vast majority of the historic homes have these, what they call haint blue ceilings. So it's a very light blue color. It originally came about that with the Gullah people, that this kind of superstition that the haunting spirits couldn't get into the house. Anyway, that's why they called it haint blue. Then it kind of evolved in that wasp don't build their nest because they think it's the sky, and so they don't build their nest. Again, true, not true. We just like the blue. We love the whole Charleston architecture and colors, and so that is why we have a haint blue ceiling. Now, the last one I want to show you is this AquaPot. So we have, this is the sister AquaPot to the ones that are at the pergola. So the ones at the pergola are the large ones. This is the medium. The other medium is what has the big, large bubblegum at the entrance at the gate. So this is the falling blue AquaPot from Proven Winners. It's gorgeous. This spot obviously is under the porch. It gets no rain. That's why an AquaPot is perfect here, because it's self-watering and can take care of itself. This gets complete shade until late afternoon, like 5 o'clock. Then it will get an hour or two of that intense sun. So I plant this as a shade container. Even though it gets some hot afternoon sun for a small amount of time, remember, shade is 4 hours of sun or less. So these have clearly done really well here. So what we have is in the back are caladiums. These are ones, again, that Classic Calladiums sent us. This is Rose Glow. They're jam-packed in here. So just gorgeous. They filled in quite quickly, doing amazingly well. They're loving life. Remember, caladiums do fantastic in the heat and humidity of the South. So that's what we have there in the back. Then here, this beautiful specimen. This is Pegasus. Pegasus Begonia. Again, these are all annuals. Shade-loving foliage begonia from proven winners. Now, you might be saying, well, Jenny, your Pegasus is bigger than your begonia. I mean, your caladiums, but the begonia is in the front. When, according to the tags, they're supposed to be the same size. Pegasus, of course, you can tell is growing towards the sun, is a little bit more vigorous. And under here, believe it or not, there are some white, these are the, I think, Infinity White impatiens. Beautiful white, pure white bloom on them. There's 3 in here. Pegasus is taking it over. It's fine. It's not a big deal. Now, if Pegasus continues to grow and get really big, all I can simply do, if it drives me crazy, is turn the pot. That's the beautiful thing about a pot, is that you can rotate it. So if this gets bigger and I want it to the side or I want it in the back, I can simply do that. Right now, I'm just going to kind of let it go and see what happens. Again, this pot will take us all the way through to the fall, because these will all do great until we get a freeze, and then they'll just be removed and taken out. And I leave this pretty much blank for the winter. I do take all the water out of the AquaPot and fill it with greenery, but there's not actually going to be a plant planted in here. I think that kind of takes, I think that's everything. I do want to show you though. So when we do our front porch chats, obviously we sit here on our front porch, right? I want to show you though what we're looking at when we're doing these chats or from our front porch. So the sun is coming up clearly, but we have, these are our 3 Crape Myrtles. These are the Natchez Crape Myrtles. Underneath them, that is in all their glory right now, are the Summerrific Hibiscus from Walter's Gardens and Proven Winners. The one that you see probably the most predominantly is Cherry Cheesecake. They have been here for 5, 6, 7 years, and unfortunately, the Cherry Cheesecake has been discontinued, but it is absolutely one of our favorites. It gets just these gorgeous light pink blooms on it with a really dark center. Just fantastic. Obviously, these are perennials. They come back every year. And then down closer to the field side, maybe you can see there is the Cranberry Crush, which is a nice deep red. And then way beyond that, if you can see, that is the new bed that Jerry put in with all of our fantastic summer help. And can you see those limelights blooming? Somebody had asked why we did limelights instead of maybe the new Limelight Prime, or why did we choose limelights? We chose limelights because those are the big daddies. Those are the big daddy classics. You cannot go wrong with a limelight because they just get huge. They have massive blooms on them. And just sitting here, I mean, they were just planted like a month ago as a 3-gallon, and they have already just taken off. Blooms are gorgeous. They are going to be magnificent, especially like next year and in the coming years, because they'll be huge and full and just glorious. So I hope you have enjoyed this little update of our front porch garden tour. I know you've been here before, but maybe you haven't seen the whole big picture. So this is kind of a big picture video just to kind of show you what's going on. We've got the hummingbird feeder behind me. I heard somebody go, "Mrr." You always know when they're coming. Like I can hear them before. I think he flew off. But anyway, as always, thank you so much for gardening with Creekside. Y'all have a fantastic day, and we'll see you in the next video. Bye, friends.